Hello everyone, I'm Troy Murray, as most of you will know by now, and I'd like to talk this morning about this book. This is the Book of Prefaces by Alasdair Gray. Now that's what you know it as, but for the 5 or 6 years that I worked with this book, on this book, it was known to me as, give me a second, the Anthology of Prefaces. Yeah, because they changed the name at the last minute and didn't tell me. What this is what's known in the printing trade as a chromalin. And it's a one-off print, colour print, to allow tests of, make sure everybody's happy with the colours, a big job. There's gold leaf and things like that on this, so the printer sent it to me to make sure I was happy with it. And I said yes. So as far as I was concerned, this was going to be the title of the book. How can I prove it was the title of the book when you know it was a book of prefaces? Because the one thing I had no control over was the blocks. I forgot to change the block on the hardcover. So anyway, what I wanted to say now, this was a labour. Was it a labour of love? It was certainly a labour. Yeah, it was one of Hercules' trials, I think. But Alasdair and I used to sit together and work on this, and other books. This was actually being designed even before it was written, so it was being designed all the way through. It was being typeset from page, I got it up at page 10 or something, and then had to change it all. So anyway, Book of Prefaces. The Book of Prefaces was originally the Anthology of Prefaces, and I think I may have the only copy of this book in the world with the actual original, the original cover on it. Now, this book and this book are related, not just because Alasdair Gray, but it's related through me, and I'll show you why, and I'll tell you why. I didn't actually typeset this book, but I'll show you why. We've been on this book for 5.5, 6 years or so, and I'd actually given up my business. I had gone to university. I was about 4 or 5 months, it would come up to exam times at university, when Alasdair decided that this book needed a major overhaul, design overhaul, and we went through it and changing things, and 5 words that will send my spine to an icicle is, oh, I've got a great idea. Anyway, we were finishing up for the day when this happened. This here is the title for this page here. And I said, you can't leave that there, Alasdair. It's, oh no, I want it there, he said. That'll be fine. I said, but it doesn't look good. And he said, no, I want it there. And I get a bit irate with him, because I know that tomorrow this is going to end up back there again. Why did that make me angry? Or annoyed at him? That's probably the only time in all those years I was ever annoyed at him. Because the way this book was designed, and ultimately, the ultimate design of this book meant that it was a continuous book from page 1 to page 640. And up here, you have the headers. Now, simply by the nature of design of the book, all of these headers could change page by page. Most of them did change page by page. And you'll notice there's 2 elements to these headers. Well, by moving from up there to down here, meant every recto page became a verso page, which meant every single one of these headers was wrong and all had to be moved by hand. And I know tomorrow, when I do this today, tomorrow, he's going to change that back, because I know he doesn't like it, and he's going to change that back, and I'm going to have to do it all over again. So I really get miffed at him, saying, you have to throw him out. I said, there's no point you sitting here, and bugger off. It'll take me hours, and it took me 4 hours to do it. Right? And after the 4 hours I sat down, I thought, I'm never ever going to get away for this job. I've got that. This is like Sisyphus and his rock. And I wrote this, a little joke came into my head I'd heard donkeys years before, and it came into my head, it was about that kind of thing. So I sat down and I wrote a wee short story based on that. And I didn't tell him I'd written it, because later on that afternoon he phoned me up and says, Joe, he says, I take on board what you're saying, let's go for a curry and beer and let's discuss. So we went for curry and beer and then just get drunk, and then tomorrow we just started working again, which is usually what happened, you know. So anyway, I didn't tell her written this story, but at the launch of the book, it eventually did get printed, you know, because Bloomsbury were screaming at him for about a year before I did to get this done. Anyway, I wrote a story and I gave it to him at the launch. I said, look, read that at your leisure. I think he thought, I don't know what he thought it was, maybe it was a letter of resignation or something, I don't know. But about 10 minutes later, I heard a great guffaw. If you ever heard Alasdair laugh, you know what he's like. I heard a great guffaw of laughter. And he came over and he said, oh, that was really funny. Yeah, it was really funny. Anyway, when I was working on it, I didn't actually typeset this book, but I did the cover for it. And you might actually see the chromeline on the wall behind me there of this cover. And I got a phone call from the British Library, Phil Moores at the British Library, who was editing this book, and said Alasdair had mentioned the story, and would I send him it because he thinks it would be a great coda to the book. So I did, never thought anything of it. And then when the book came, I thought, oh, my story's in here. Ta-da! There you are. My story's in here, so I'm going to read it to you. It's called A Short Tale of Woe, and you might have heard the joke that it's based on, but it's called A Short Tale of Woe, and it's by me, Joe Murray. So I'm going to read it to you now. I hope you enjoy it, okay? Just move that over there a little bit. Yeah, there we go. And microphone, make sure I'm right. I can hear me. Yeah. Okay. Short Tale of Woe by Joe Murray. The heat was becoming unbearable as we walked single file towards the jobs allocation window. The furnaces were running full blast, giving off the only light in that dark, oppressive place. Up ahead, as each poor soul approached... So I thought I'd stop recording, sorry. Up ahead, as each poor soul approached, the iron window opened. Items were handed out, then it closed again. All the while could be heard the overseer's monotonous, "Moving on there. No holding up the queue." When I reached it, the window scraped back. A hand reached out and gave me a bucket. "I Clyde," said a voice. "Empty it." The window screeched shut. The bucket was old, the handle was broken, and the bottom had rusted through. But there's a hole in it. The job will be impossible. "Moving on there, no holding up the queue," said the overseer. I held the bucket up for him to see. "But this is impossible." "Move along there, no holding up the queue." The window eared open again. "Problem?" asked the voice. "There's a hole in the bucket," I said meekly. "The job will be impossible." Claw-like nails rattled a tattoo on the sill for a moment, then the hand reached out, grabbed the bucket, dragging it back with a goatish laugh. "Okay, here, do this instead." A large pile of papers was pushed through as a voice shouted, "Right, big fella, you're on." The window closed with a clang that rang of finality. The iron door at the side of the window opened and a big chap walked through with the first friendly smile I had seen since coming to this place. I recognised him immediately. I looked down at the pile of papers. The top sheet read, "The Book of Prefaces by Alasdair Gray, for typesetting before the next millennium." Within the next millennium. I banged on the window and cried, "Give me back my bucket! Please, please, give me back my fucking bucket." "Move along there, no holding up the queue," said the overseer. That's a daft old story, but that's how I felt at the time. Anyway, Alasdair seemed to enjoy it. Alasdair, what a man. For years we sat together, shoulder to shoulder. He'd be sitting here and we'd be working on my computer just like this, and he'd be telling me what he would like to happen, for the page to look like, and I would make it happen for him. Sometimes he'd ask for things that were very, very difficult, so I'd have to work out a way of doing it for him, because if you know Alasdair's books, they're very particular, and it was difficult at times. He He's a perfectionist, so it can be very hard. You change a lot of things. You do something, work really hard on something, and then it'd be gone because you want something else. But it was very difficult to be angry with him because he was just Alasdair. He was a great friend, colleague, I would say, boss even, if you want to put it that way. He was my client or whatever. And he had a great sense of humour. We had great fun working together for hours and hours on end. Didn't work every single day, of course, but in periods we'd be working a bit. It could be a whole week sometimes 2 even, depending on what we were doing. And it could be very busy, very hectic. He is a perfectionist, so it could be very difficult. But he had a brilliant sense of humour. He was a very, very, very clever man. And a mind as sharp as a razor blade. A lot of people saw Alasdair as a kind of bumbling, but the reason for that was his brain worked 3 times as fast as his mouth ever could. And that was why he bumbled a little bit at times, but he knew exactly what he wanted. I mean, this guy could recite things from books he'd read 30 years ago and recite whole passages from them, in one go. And he had an incredible mind. And he was absolutely fabulous and wonderful to work with as at work. But as a friend and as just a pal, he was absolutely brilliant to sit and have a whiskey with or a beer with or a bit of lunch with, because he had so many stories. And he had just such a wonderful sense of humour and just such a nice man. In fact, he was a very, very nice man, a beautiful soul, I would say. Oh, he had a temper. Oh, God. Yes, he had a temper, and you didn't want to get on the wrong side of him. Though, him and I only fell out that once. Well, I fell out with him, he did for me. In fact, he thought it was great. He thought, my staff have gone on strike, but we have negotiated. Yeah, he bought me a curry. And as you notice, anyway, the bit was still on the bottom of the page. He never ever moved that. He moved everything else, but he never moved that, So I ended up doing the whole thing anyway, but he never moved that. That was his nod to me. But he thought it was great. He just thought it was great. His staff had gone on strike, but he'd negotiated a peace deal, which was curry and beer. And for me, that's wouldn't be over any time with that, But he's a wonderful man, and I never got to see him for quite a long time before he died at the end of last year. For lots of different reasons. I knew he was really busy before and had been unwell, and I didn't want to take that up to him either for a while. But it'd been quite a long number of months I hadn't seen him, so when I got up to see him, went to see him at Christmas, he was already out the house, and nobody would tell me where he was. So I only found out a few days later that he had died. So I still got his Christmas present down in the living room there. But I miss him dreadfully. He was an absolutely wonderful man, and I know I'm not the only one who miss him. He was an absolutely wonderful person, kind, generous to a fault, with his time and with everything else. So I definitely really miss him, and God rest you, Alasdair. You were, Will Self called him sui generis, one of a kind, and Will Self was spot on. Rest in peace, Alasdair. We all miss you. Thanks very much for listening. Speak to you again. Bye bye. Cheers.